evening, everyone, and welcome to the Manchester United Agenda. It is the 7th of October, and it could be the last day of the Erik ten Hag era. But tonight, we're going to be talking a bit about the Villa game and some of the goings-on that have happened today. Dora's just told me an amazing theory she's got, which is that I'm blown away. It's genius. But I'm delighted to be joined by both Dora and Yabba. We'll start off with you, Yabba. You're tired.
Yeah, I'm very tired. I've just done a 12-hour shift and I've got a bit of a headache as well. And I've got to do another 12-hour shift tomorrow. So I'm very, very tired right now. So you might not get the best of me.
That's a song lyric. I know that you're tired if you're not bursting out in song. Well, so all right. So people in the comments, you might have very different opinions to Yabba, but I've been speaking to other people who claim they like football, and none of them know anything compared to Yabba. So, be nice to him this evening. It's a pleasure to talk to him, even if he is living in another world. Dora, from another world, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I'm calling from from Mars, apparently, according to bedtime, not from Croatia. Yeah, I'm doing good. I had a wedding that I had to go to the other day, to my neighbor's wedding that I haven't seen in 10 years, and all of a sudden she invited us, and my mother didn't want to go, and I wanted to skip as well, but unfortunately I had to go because my aunt said that I will go, so she fucked me up. Sorry for my language. So yeah, I had to go, and you know what? I was until 1:30, and I went home. But yeah, I couldn't be bothered to go, but in the end I had to. But overall, I feel okay. Today I went to the auto mechanic for my car. The usual checking, check of the vehicle, and didn't find anything insanely bad in the car. So yeah, I was happy about it as well. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Very productive day, or the weekend, as you can say. So yeah, I'm quite happy. Not with United, by the way. Don't get me wrong. Not with United, but with my life.
Did you get your elbows up for the bouquet? Knock everyone out of the way. Make first contact.
Yeah. No, because oh my God, this tradition that we have here. So there is one guy. It's a very old tradition here where I come from this side of Croatia, where there is one guy that is. Sorry?
It's not prima nocte, is it?
No. This is like we call it chayo. So this guy is he's the entertainer. He is like for example, you go to church, the pair gets wedded, and he is the one to stand in the middle of the road, in the middle of the town or a small village, and he's like talking to normal people. Go to the other, don't drive here, the wedding is here, go the other way. Like he's a traffic policeman, for 5 minutes. Then he entertains the guests, and I don't like him, honestly, because they are quite drunk after 1 hour or two, and this guy was obviously on cocaine. I have a theory he's on coke, because this is like second or third time that he's at the wedding where I am. And I almost did it. I almost went up there and elbowed him like Maguire did to Ollie Watkins the other day, which I really liked. It's the weddings here, traditional weddings here, are such a pain in the ass sometimes. I'm not a huge fan of it, but on the other hand, these modern weddings as well, they suck ass. Like they're just the whole elite, the elite people are going to show off and all that, and I'm like, is this Victorian England or whatever? Like, just get drunk and have fun, and that's all. And I danced as well. I danced even though I didn't want to go, but there was a traditional dance involved, and I had to do it. I was dancing my traditional dance.
Aston Villa versus Manchester United match reaction. Do you know what, Dora?
Yeah.
I love these little windows into your life, like hearing about a best man who's drunk on coke, being a traffic warden.
He's not even a best man. I would get it if he's a best man, but that's a random guy who, it's like a tradition here. He gets in the traditional clothes, and he's out there doing coke, sniffing lines, and literally, doing, making fun of himself or whatever. So, yeah. I had, very eventful weekend, I would say. But it was very eventful for me when I think about
Good.
it. But yeah.
Well, I think you demonetized us, so you can just carry on this evening.
I'm so sorry about
Robbie
that.
Fowler there. All right. Should we see who we've got in the chat, gang?
Of course.
All right. We've got Steph, 12 days to play until United play our next game versus the Bees. Not buzzing about that. Yeah, she's been working on that one all day, yeah. But
Very good.
we've got Mark. Evening, everyone. Big up everyone in the chat as well. Thank you, Mark. We got Kieran. Hi, Bath Time Yava and Wizardora.
Amazing nickname.
Simon Walker. Hope you've all had a good weekend. We've got Steph saying big up to everyone. We're only on 6 likes. There's 700 million people watching, so please give a like. Right, we're going to get to Villa. The Villa match lacked passion, okay, pride, definitely goals. It was so lethargic. We've got Munsey Talk saying it's time to go. And we've got that man. He's very contagious. It's Trevor Fever. Good evening, all. Dora's stories are legendary. I'm trying to remember my favourite Dora story. I think it's probably Snake Island. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're up to 90 million likes, so that's pretty good. We've got Jeff Vesco in the house. Hello, Jeff. Dora, you would love Curb Your Enthusiasm. You're a misanthrope at heart. That's why we love you.
Look, I love people, but sometimes I don't like people who are... I like people, but I don't like certain types of people. And I will shut up because it will sound offensive, but you know what?
I know exactly what you're going to say.
I don't like people who are around me currently in this area.
All right, Yaba, are you enjoying this frivolous Monday show?
Yes. Yes. I'm amazed by the story. I love Dora. She's just snapped me out of it with all that talk about the wedding and the guy, what role that is to sort of announce the wedding and scream in the streets and everything. Yeah, I need to go to Croatia and experience life.
It sounds like a town crier to me.
Yeah.
All right. Now, boys and girls that are watching and anything in between, we've got a plan for the show tonight, which is very unusual. But first of all, we're going to talk about the Aston Villa United game out of context of Erik ten Hag and just discuss it as a football match. Because otherwise, we can just say it's rubbish, like the subs were weird and things like that. We didn't do a post-match reaction, so I want to talk about it just as a football match, and then we'll discuss the context around it. And I'd just like to say hello to Adil Mohammed. Already straight into manager talk. Look, it's international break. We really need to pad this out for as long as we can. And we got Subvids, the Oscar winner himself. All right, Yaba, I think you, rather like me, saw quite a lot defensively you might have enjoyed in that game.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the manager, just talk about the football side of things.
Yeah.
It was a good game. I thought it was a good game of football. Two sides, one on the up, one sort of, on the slide in Man United. And some major changes were made. I mean, defensively, we brought in Evans and Maguire, two guys that came on during the week, when we got that draw in Porto. And Johnny Evans, take a bow. He's a legend right now of the club. He's performing really well. Performed well last season and defended really well again. against a pacey attack with Bailey, with Watkins, and with that guy Morgan Rogers, who I was really concerned about. When we had Eric in midfield, I thought, oh God, who's going to pick him up and track that guy? Because he seems to ghost past people. But it was a stalemate in the end, no goals. I don't think anyone would have predicted that. They would have thought we would have conceded at least. But I'm really impressed with Manchester United, the resolve we showed to sort of resist them. Granted, I reckon there was an issue with Villa being a bit tired after their efforts in midweek against Bayern Munich, but we still had to come up against them at home with that their fans, and they're buzzing at the moment, aren't they? So to sort of cut off their fire out and absorb what they had to give us, it gets a point for me, thumbs up for me. I really thought that was a good defensive display by Man United, not just in defence, not just talking about the defenders. I'm talking all round, you know. All the team defended well, and they had the right mentality. Rashford, especially, was getting back and getting stuck in. Sorry, and on the other side, you had Garnacho as well, who's apparently injured now. So we didn't offer much going forward, but I think Villa are a tough side, and we want to see this more often when we go to big clubs. We want to see resilience, not conceding loads of goals. So that was a thumbs up for me. Like I say, we didn't see many goals. We absorbed them. We maintained a good balance in defence. There's a lot of leadership talking going on as well. And we kept the ball pretty decent, especially in defence and bringing it out. So I'm really impressed with the performance. I'm impressed with the result to go there and not lose. And considering all things considered, and I'm quite happy.
Yeah, I know that's going to enrage a few people that are listening, but I actually kind of agree with you on this. Where I'll just come to Dora in a second, but I think that the thing that really impressed me about it was that Villa didn't have a proper chance in the game, like except maybe at the end where De Ligt just glitched through, like he let a ball through. It's poor defending, and I think that you have to see Villa as a rival now, a top four rival, and an away point away from home where you hope to nick it through a set piece and you all defend as a team. I don't think is that bad, to be honest. Like it looked like a quintessential like European away performance. But Dora, we denied Villa like having any chances. But what did you think about our attacking output? Or anything else you want to talk about?
No, I mean, when I'm listening to Amondi, like I think I will sound like a moaner, like a bit negative. But I'm listening to you, Amondi, and I actually agree with some stuff. I think our defense was really good on the day. I think Evans and Maguire did an amazing job. Too bad that Maguire got injured at the halftime, or he had to come out. But I think overall we had a really good defensive game, and Villa seemed very, they played very safe. I don't think they could. There were some moments where they could have, break us in the transition, through counters. Few balls went through, but in the end they didn't have the final ball, and they would just, flick it. The ball would go, over the goal. And I think, for example, Rogers and Watkins will, cry later about those few chances that they had. But the attack was, I think this is the worst attack in the Premier League from Manchester United. I think Rashford was the only one who did something on the day. He was the one who was able to go through Matty Cash. But in the end, even those 2-3 chances that he had, he couldn't do it anymore because the either the attack wasn't set up well. Bruno would lose a ball. Garnacho would lose a ball because he's too selfish. He doesn't get his head up. He's still so green, so raw. And I'm kind of unhappy that we are hyping up our young players so much so early in their careers, and they then don't have the time to progress like normal footballers. I don't believe Garnacho progressed that much in the last 2 seasons. and it's worrying to me, in all honesty. Even though he's very young, it's very worrying with the way he plays. I believe this Manchester United attack that has no chemistry. Rasmus Højlund cannot play with Rashford and Garnacho on the same team. I believe they don't have any chemistry. They don't know. Like I didn't mind Rasmus Højlund starting at the weekend. I really didn't. But once again, he has 2 trees for his legs. It's like I'm watching Lukaku at the end of the Manchester United career. He doesn't have finesse. He doesn't have a good touch. He's very hard. I don't know how to say to you. He's very, rigid and woody with his touch. And in the Premier League, if you're going to play like that, you're never going to succeed as a striker or any kind of player. And I hope that he's going to address that, because he's been he had a few chances where he could go through. I think he had actually a few times he actually went through the defense of Aston Villa, but his touch is absolutely dog shit, if I may say it like that, because it is. I've seen better touches from my local team here that is in the 3rd Croatian league. And that says a lot, and he needs to work on it. But yeah, attack is probably the worst in the Premier League right now.
All right, we're going to do some comments, and then I'm going to pick up on some individual points that you both made. Simon said Evans had a good game, though, and got man of the match. To think that man 6 years ago was in Spain stealing a taxi with Danny Drinkwater, and here he is getting man of the match. What wonderful. I was so pleased for him. Andrew, it was interminable. I had 3 birthdays during that second half. Jeff is saying Johnny was Iron Man, was about to go off hurt, and turned it around and became man of the match. Andrew says, I called it last week, by the way. I called it for a few weeks, actually, that Villa would be vulnerable in this game. Blimey, Andrew. There were some good aspects, Yabba, but we barely had a shot. One thing that if we'd had a left footer on the right-hand side, I think that he gets that ball through to Bruno at the end, though. That was really annoying from Garnacho. He couldn't execute that, because that would have been a really good smash and grab. POTUS is saying, I thought we'd wake up to the news of ETH sack list this AM. We'll talk about that just a little bit later. But, we kind of prefer to talk about football rather than meetings. Johnny Evans with a blown 90 million on him already. He's been our best signing, I think, under the Ten Hag era.
Yeah.
Brentford tore the Wolves apart, so what hope do we have? Why did he start De Ligt? He didn't. He started Maguire and Evans.
Yeah.
All right, Steph's got a question for us. If United had drawn the games we lost to Brighton, Liverpool and Spurs to give us 11 points instead of 8, would we be okay with that? That would leave us, 4 points off top 4, unbeaten? I mean, to be honest, I'd take a point against all those 3 teams, I think. But for me, it'd be more about the manner of the performance. Like, I wasn't that bothered about the Brighton loss because I thought we did all right and we looked better than we normally do. But Yabba.
Yeah, I agree with you, Stephanie Griffiths. Well, you're not saying, you're asking. I think, I would love to have a draw against those 3 results there. Because we lost badly to Spurs and Liverpool 3-0, didn't even score a goal. And those 2 teams are pretty good in the Premiership right now. And Brighton, as they proved, come back to beat Spurs over the weekend at home, proven to be a good outfit as well, even though no one's tipping them for top 4 or anything like that. But they are a very good team. So, a draw against all 3 of them would have been ideal.
Dora?
Well, thinking about it, yes, because we lost 3 of those games, actually. Yeah. If you think about it. Yeah, I would be a bit happier, but it's just... But I agree with you, Bedtime, in terms of in the matter... it would still be important for me to see how we played during those games. And yeah, but that's why Steph, unfortunately, this looks like a fairy tale, and too bad that's not real. In all honesty, because I wouldn't be this mad. I mean, I was mad at Ten Hag last season. I was kind of, I cooled off a bit at the beginning because there is no use of witch hunting the manager non-stop, especially after he signed or he extended his thing for 1 year as well. So I mean, but yeah, I think I will be okay with that, definitely.
Okay. Bart is talking about that Villa had injuries to key players.
Yeah.
Look, you just have to play what's in front of you. Like, don't worry about what other teams are doing. POTUS, typical performance from a side that gave their all on a big European night. Villa were tired, not at 100%. So were we. Like, we had to play with 10 men against like Porto. Like, the players did a lot of running as well on our end. Right, Andrew's saying the wingers were so selfish. One.
Yeah.
And Bilal. That game we played the other night where we had to compare, two players had me in stitches. Just carry on playing it in chat if you want, Bilal. I think at some point this week we're probably going to do the worst Manchester United 11 of all time for a bit of fun. And also, it can't be guaranteed because of what's going on with the manager, but I think Jay Motti is coming on Thursday. So tune in for that one, as he's a good guy, Jay. This is really annoying. Apparently, we're on course for about 40 points this season, so at least we stay up.
That's so funny, actually.
All right, and we've got Matty Bassett in the house. We've got Big G in the house. Have we got anyone new? Yeah, but how did you get on with your football over the weekend?
No, that's got to take 2 minutes.
All right.
Leave it.
Okay. Leave it. Instead,
leave it out.
Instead, yeah, but I want to talk about a couple of things about this game with a bit of context now. I think the first thing I want to talk about is Xerxes' performance when he came on and Rasmus's performance, as Dorda talked about. Now, you're a big fan of Xerxes, and I still believe that he needs a little bit of time, but I was deeply, deeply unimpressed with what I saw from him at the weekend. Again, he looked disinterested in pressing or playing or doing anything, really. Am I being unfair?
No, you're not being unfair. I'm a big fan of Xerxes as well. He came off the bench. I was a bit frustrated. There was a time when the ball was played across the 6-yard box and he was just standing still. Granted, sometimes a good thing to stand still, but there was no way where he was. He should have made the run towards the goal and showed a bit of movement or attacked a space. But he stood still where the ball wasn't really going to reach him. And I was thinking, no. In this instance, you've got to attack the space, because the only other option was at the back post with Anthony, who was trying to attack the ball as well. So I just think as you're going to be a striker, Fox in the box, which he's not really, I think he needs to have a bit more electric movement in the box and say, anticipate things a bit more. And when you're going to talk about standing still to create space, do that outside the box in the build-up. But when you're in the box, you need to attack, be electric, show yourself exciting, and just go for things. Saying that he's probably going to score a goal by standing still for a cutback next week, or in 12 days. But I like him as a player. But you said lethargic. It does get frustrating because it's 0-0. We wanted someone to come off the bench and score, and we're seeing him come on and looking a bit sluggish. And I don't think he's not trying. I just think that's his appearance. That is like his body language, a bit like Anthony Martial never used to smile. So where's the passion? It doesn't matter. That's just his thing. But yeah, you got a point just from observation. But I don't think it's a legit point. I don't think he's not working. I think that's what he is at the moment. And it might take a bit of time. You just need to be a bit patient with him, like we were with Haaland last year. Because this time last season, we were talking about Haaland saying he's not scoring goals, he's not holding on the ball well, his touch is poor. As Dora was saying,
and it's still the same.
Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah.
Yes, what's the point?
But the point is, these are players on the cusp of being really good. They're not finished article yet. So we can see, at least we can identify where both players need to improve. And what you just said there about being lethargic and coming on and not looking the part, that possibly was true.
I'd like to see him beat up defenders a little bit. If you're built like the Predator, like, what is he, 6 foot? He's your height, isn't he? 6'5", 6'4"?
I'm taller than him, actually. He's 6'4", I think, yeah.
Well, my apologies.
Jesus, and you're huge.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dora. I like that.
Nice. But Yabba, if you're having a bad game, like at striker, or you weren't in the game or whatever, did you go and like rough up some players, chase a couple of? This is kind of what I'm talking about. It doesn't seem, because obviously he's got desire. He's become a professional footballer, and you have to do a hell of a lot for that. It's not, they don't like look at you and go, "You're going to make it," and then put you in an academy. There's work. There's like having to do stuff in the gym. There's discipline. There's all sorts of things. But where is that aggression on the pitch that I worry about? Like, where is it to score the goal? Where is it to make your defender wake up the next day and the first thing he thinks is, "Ow, Xerxes," because he's covered in bruises? Like, that's what concerns me.
Yeah, really good point. Really good point, Halftime. But the thing is, it's a mental thing, where that's a mental thing. So it's not that hard for him to change. You're talking about with developing someone's touch with Haaland. That's harder than actually saying to Xerxes, "Look, bro, shave your hair bald, get a bit meaner. You're not a pretty boy. Go out there and cause havoc towards his defenders." He's probably never had to do that because he's always been bigger and stronger and fearful in the other leagues he's played in. I do think it was Serie A, and when he played at Bayern Munich B or whatever, and playing in Holland, he's always been that guy where probably in a dominant team, being able to sort of get his team going and play nice passes and flick it around and look good. But now you have to get low down and dirty. And that's what the Premiership's about. You're going to have to get low down and dirty to prove your worth. So you definitely got to add that sort of rough stuff to his game.
Dora, I'm of the opinion that Anthony Martial is better at everything that Haaland and Xerxes are meant to be good at. Am I just being mental with my love of Anthony Martial, or should we be very concerned about our strikers? As I'm going to believe Andrew on this one. Andrew said he checked, and we are on course for 27 goals for the entire season in the Premier League.
Amazing. And I agree with you, Bedtime. Like, when he got him, Anthony Martial, he was very raw, but he was extremely talented. And, when he was healthy, when he was on point, when he had, other informed players around him, he was incredible, right? But then injuries, but then, problems with shirt numbers, Ibrahimovic coming in, Cavani coming, like that sort of bull, or Lukaku coming in and taking away his number 9. And I'm like, football players are sometimes very sensitive, and I'm like, just shut up and play. Who fucking cares? Who is going to buy your clothing brand? David, AM9. Like,
why
who
have you got your eyes
cares?
closed?
Like, no one is. Sorry?
Why do you have your eyes closed when you're doing
because
that?
I realized I said it in Croatian. Who's going to buy your brand? Who cares? Like, are you no one is like CR7 or David Beckham or whoever. Like, just play football and earn your money or whatever. Like, but that's other topic. But yeah, I agree with you. I was watching today Claudio Pizarro scoring goals for Bayern Munich and Werder Bremen in the Champions League. That guy was insane. Peruvian.
Is he still going?
No, that was years ago.
Okay.
But I remember when he came back to Bayern Munich. I think he was 39, 40 years old. During 2000, 2010 Ribéry, Robben era, Ivica Olic, Mario Mandzukic era, Philip Lahm, during that era, and he was still, the way he moved, and he wasn't just a goal poacher or whatever. He was very good, on the edge of the box and everything. And we have two strikers who are vastly different in the way they play, and none of them can score goals, and they certainly cannot find themselves in good situation where they can score. Holland scored at Porto, which was great. That was a good position, good created goal from Rashford, Alou, and the other guys at that left side. But he's not there enough. Zirkzee is, creating for everyone, but he cannot just run into straight line or be too deep. He needs to go into and even if he's in the box, no one is crossing. I think this is again, and we will talk about it further, but I believe that in some cases it's a systematic thing where we only cross in certain situations, especially when we are 1-0 down, when we are losing or we are chasing a result, and that is always happening 5 minutes before the end. I hate long balls. I hate long balls in terms of during the creating of the attack during the attacking possession. Keep it short, keep it fast. Tick, 1-2s and all that stuff. But I want crosses as well. If you're standing so high on the pitch, why just don't commit everyone in the box? And from the attackers, put everyone in the box and let someone like, for example, Christian Eriksen, who is the best crosser in this team, or whoever, cross it, and you will be in situations where you're going to score goals. People are saying no one is passing to Rasmus, no one is passing to Rasmus. My issue is that he is never in a situation where he can score, and that's another issue as well. And to me, I agree with you. Like Martial, for these two guys, he looks like a freaking space shuttle. If you compare him to those two guys, it's insane. We invested 100 million euros or pounds or whatever to players to strikers who cannot score goals. I'm thinking about it, and I'm in the middle of losing my mind. So I will, stop there. But it's insane.
All right. I'd just like to say I enjoy long balls sprinkled into a football match. I think they're a very important part of a game of football. And I also love booting the ball. Right, let's do some comments, Yabba. First up, we've got Big G saying, bath time, believe it or not, I was pumping into Dan Ashworth yesterday. He confirms you were shit and you need to stop moaning. I'm glad you enjoyed a nice romantic evening with Dan, Big G. All right, Matty is saying, watch the Villa game. We was never going to score. And I think, Matty, you're from that area, aren't you? That's St Andrews Park behind you, I believe, in that photo. So let us know what the feeling is around the Birmingham area. Got Simon Warner saying, I expected more from Zirkzee this season. Unsurprising, considering he was compared to Ronaldinho and Batistuta by some people. It's Solo. Big up, everyone. Jeff, dang referees. Yeah, I actually, this is another thing I thought was really good about the game from our point of view, is I felt we managed the yellow cards that we got very well. I don't want to, the yellow cards weren't great, but no one got sent off. I thought we did quite well with that. I was very surprised, to be honest. Here's a bit of fun. Tyrone and his team got battered 8-1 last Sunday. It's frustrating when people in midfield don't track their players. Having to babysit your teammates gets tiring. I hope you reference the eye test, Tyrone, during all of this about channel runs.
This looks like Manchester United, but yeah. Do you play for United, Tyrone?
Yeah. Zirkzee should be screaming for the ball and making himself available. He looks like a passenger. Yeah, I do wonder if we're being unfair that a player isn't doing performative actions on a pitch. Say you should have given me the ball and stuff, where 99% of it is just being in the right position and to be available, which I think you're kind of talking a little bit about, Dora, with Rasmus's lack of venom in the box. We've got Brushy. Big up, guys. Make sure to smack the like, folks. And then I'm assuming that's popcorn.
Yes, it is.
Just checking. You have certain players who dribble in dangerous areas where it's not needed. Remember, Tyrone, that you dribble to create space for other players in modern football. We've got Elite Baller. Hello. We've got 180,000 likes. Let's get that up to 200,000 likes. We're on the road to 5 billion. Solo wants every person in the planet subscribed to us. Apparently, Bart is overrated. All right, now I want to talk a bit about the context of this game now, Yabba. One Ineos signing started, which was Mazraoui, Ugarte on the bench, De Ligt on the bench. Is there what do you think that there's anything to this?
I didn't really think about it too much. I just think it's standard rotation that we have to do. I also think that he might have been disappointed with some of the performances in midweek against Porto, when people weren't tracking back, possibly allowing crosses to come in. The two centre backs, they were dropped. You don't usually change centre back pairing, even if you're playing one Monday and Tuesday, you still probably stick with your same pairing, but he's changed it up. But we've got the people to do it. You have to start utilising the squad. And I think throughout the season, you're going to get times when someone's going to upset you. You're going to be disappointed. And you want to show, especially because you're under pressure, you want to show, look, I don't give an F. You guys are dropped. I'm bringing in these guys for this game. And that will keep people on their toes rather than what we've seen in the last couple of years where he's been playing similar to the same team over and over again. We're having a hot spell right now for people like Ericsson. He seems to be a first teamer starting all the time. And Ugarte's just come in. Maybe you could argue that he needs to settle into the country. You know, obviously, if he's married or he's got to settle into his new home, the climate, all kinds of things that you could make an excuse for. But the question was about Ineos signings, only one being on display. I don't think there's any relevance to that. But I will say this, with all the pressure, because the fans are talking about, the media talking about it, about the manager being under pressure and could be getting sacked, and so much talk going on. Welcome, Mr. B. Big up, Mr. B, by the way. With all that going on, you're going to be scrutinising every little thing that's going on the pitch, and the lineup by saying, "Oh, he's dropped these guys." I don't think it's anything to do with that. I just think simply De Ligt and Martinez, as we discussed, all three of us haven't been performing too well. The mistakes they made in the game against Porto, damn right they should be dropped, because Maguire came on, saved the day, and Maguire played the first two games of this season. Then it got subbed off during the game for De Ligt to come on and get his start. De Ligt's had a few games now, and it's like, nah, let's go back to Maguire based on merit. He's performing better. And Evans, definitely, with his performance the other day, is doing better. So fair play to the manager. Good shout for that. And I don't think we should be analysing that too much. We've got a squad of good players. We've got to use them. And the other thing, sorry, the last point is things we don't know. We can only speculate. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, in the training room, in the training ground, in the changing room. We don't know what the atmosphere is like, or if someone's not feeling it, or someone's a bit off, whatever. So these decisions are based on things like that as well, which we're not privy to a lot of the time.
That's very true, Yabba, but I'm going to tempt you with a conspiracy theory that I've invented in my own head.
Theories, yeah.
Right. Ten Hag's favourite word at the moment is rotation. And there's been no variation on rotation. He's always just said rotation. And it reminds me when I argue with my girlfriend about stuff and she throws my words back in my face. Also, I think that when Ineos get there and they see that one Ineos player starts, and then the player that Ratcliffe directly called out as a bad transfer, Casemiro, gets on ahead of Ugarte, which many people kind of feel might have been forced a little bit on Erik ten Hag. I see conspiracies, I see interpretations there. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm a conspiracy theorist, which is a logical thinker, and you're thinking logically.
Yes.
Yes. Conspiracy is logically thinking about things, and what you made there makes a lot of sense. But people who always dismiss conspiracy theories say, you're overreacting, there's nothing in it. But there is always something going on in the club. But like I say, we can only speculate. He played the team, they got the result. So at the end of the day, the manager's looking good on this one. The result is a draw, clean sheet, didn't lose to a raging hot Villa team at the moment. I can't really dwell too much into what you're saying there, because I don't know. The answer is, it's all right to say I don't know, and I'm saying I actually don't know, but I'm glad with what he started with, because it showed. As a manager, I'm a manager myself. You've managed before Bath Time, and short.
I haven't. You always say this, but I haven't.
Well, no, Bath Time. We know basically you, even though you're a player, you actually manage the team because people listen to you on your team. You give it advice, instructions. You give them tactics, how to play. So you're basically a manager. You don't.
No, I'm a senior player. I'm not a manager.
But you're managing the team. The word managing, you're managing how the players play, and they're pushing their buttons. You're talking about the African left back you've got, the right foot African left back you play with. You manage him, don't you? You're talking through the
He's ungovernable. You can't do anything with him. He subbed himself off on Sunday because he was cold.
Oh man, he's cold.
Yeah. He's cold. Yeah. Right. Dora, Bath. Yabba isn't getting involved in my conspiracy theories. What do you think? Do you think that there's anything more to the lineup than we saw than possibly just Ten Hag picking the players he trusts the most? Or what's going on? Because it was a surprising lineup.
Well, you know what? It's amazing that we picked out the centre-back pairing that played in 2017 for Leicester, by the way, which is insane. Wow. Evans and Maguire played together, which was very funny. But and it's so funny to me that he after seeing his main center backs underperforming, mostly Lisandro Martinez, he falls back to the player that he wanted to sell in Harry Maguire, which is another thing that is very interesting coming into this game, because I feel like the old guard that that most of the fan base says it's a problem, Ten Hag once again falls back to that old guard. For example, Christian Eriksen, who doesn't have the future in the club. You have Rashford, you have Bruno, that half the fan base wants out. You have Højlund, who already has doubters. These are the players that, except Kobe Mainoo, that are, or maybe Garnacho, that are a problem, and they should be subbed out for other players that Ten Hag brought in. But apparently, once again, he's falling back to those to those players, which is very interesting. When I saw the lineup, I wasn't making a fuss about the centre back pairing, because I believed that in these games where we are probably going to be very on the back foot, mostly, in terms of, we are going to have less possession than I thought that Aston Villa is going to be more progressive and more attacking against us, because they would probably, smell the blood in the water and try to attack us. But, I believe that Evans and Maguire could do a really good job cleaning the lines, stop, being we need to pinpoint the certain pass, to play from the back. We didn't play from the back, as you saw bad time, because Onana was sending long balls non-stop. He would, say to his centre backs for the most of the game, especially when Evans and Maguire were there, to push up the field. And honestly, it looked better, because, I think we had one sequence when De Ligt came in, or maybe in the first half even, I'm not sure, where we, actually went out of our half with short passes, and that happened once. After that, it didn't happen anymore. But I think it was a saving grace that Villa was kind of, on the back foot. They were kind of playing it safe. They were very tired, lethargic, that in the end we were, we had more room to breathe. But I wasn't very surprised with this lineup, because once again he's falling to the old guard that he wanted to get rid, and it feels to me that once again it shows that the recruitment at the club is quite poor. And I don't think that I'm not saying that, for example, someone like Ugarte is the problem, or De Ligt is a problem.
Yeah.
But it's a safety net for the managers, especially when they are on the hot seat. So I wasn't very surprised. I expected Bruno to start even after 2 red cards in a row, because Mount was once again out injured because he had a cut on his head. Okay.
He said dreadful himself, Bruno, wasn't he?
He was absolutely...
It was a terrible performance, yeah? I just
Horrendous.
check in. Like, I thought it was awful, but I wanted to. This Casemiro theory that I have, I always remember when he basically tried to get his bollocks out, and it was against Spurs. He tried to get Ronaldo to be the time-wasting sub, and it kind of reeked a little bit of this. That I'm not sure. I think he was sending a message. I'm not sure if it was to Casemiro, to Ugarte, or to Ineos, but. I think that there was something there that maybe wasn't necessarily tactical. Like, am I reaching there, Dora?
You're a worse conspiracy theorist than Omonti. Just kidding.
He's the king.
I mean, yeah, he's the king. You're his apprentice. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not how monarchies work.
Okay, he's a wizard, you're his apprentice. Or he's a sorceress, you're his apprentice. Okay, don't nitpick everything I say. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, it kind of feels that way because we don't know what is happening in the locker room, right? We don't know what is happening. Obviously, we now know that there was, a disconnect with Ronaldo and Ten Hag and the rest of the locker room. We know that, when Ole got sacked, there were clans. When Jose Mourinho got sacked, there were clans. Players went against him. Those things happen. So there is a high probability that, that happened. Like, he wants to. We don't necessarily, identify it in that moment, but in some cases, managers wants to, they want to, prove a point, and maybe he wanted to prove a point with, leaving out some of the players, or maybe he wanted to prove to Ineos that their signings are crap, or I don't know what he wants. Like, who knows? Maybe it's, out of pocket, but who knows what is happening behind the scenes. So I honestly, with this club that has been, how has it been run in the last 10 years, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, honestly.
All right. Should we do some comments? Because as I suspected, news is breaking.
No.
And he's not been sacked, but he has left. He's gone on holiday. But there's more. He has. No, don't shoot the messenger, Dora. We'll do the news. All right, but we're going to do the comments first. But now he's a Manchester United fan, is beginning to understand why we're such a big club when you look at how everyone just talks about us non-stop.
Biggest club in England, Bart. You know it.
Yeah, did you see Graham Souness say Manchester United was the biggest club in England? But and then look at this. I'm not going to say that. Darius has tremendous knowledge, but no wisdom. He'd be a crap manager. Andrew, you're such a fat slut. Right. We've been demonetized already. Steph, I know that you're reporting like the real numbers, but just for fun, can you report some wild numbers for us?
Oh, boy.
Jeff is saying it was his security blanket lineup, being like Maguire and Evans. He can trust them. Not putting on Ahmad. I can't lie. I thought Anthony was actually quite good when he came on. He did a turn that I assumed was Garnacho, and then it turned out to be Anthony completely doing his man. I think that Anthony did okay, to be honest. Tyrone wants a good assistant manager, would have been Roy Keane. Not for me. I don't know about you, Yabba, but the assistants and the sort of, like the head coach, like not the manager, but his number two, they've always been the nice ones, in my experience.
What, good cop, bad cop kind of situation?
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, an assistant is someone like Sammy Lee, who's going to be screaming and shouting. You can hear him even in a packed stadium. You can hear his voice to get instructions across. He stands up and like demands things from the technical area, or sometimes crosses the line. So I think assistant has to get the message across. But yeah, you do need to have that balance there. Come here, quick word. Yeah,
it's like you and Mr. B. Mr. B would be like RoboCop and things, and you would be the one that would like sort of build people up. And building on that, POTUS has said, I can see Yabba being a great manager. I'd play under his vision.
Right. Well, I wish my boys would be watching this right now.
Yeah, me too, because we could probably have another 10 likes. It's Johnny Hill. Oh, Johnny, hello, how are you? I know Johnny. Ten Hag complained about the lack of signings in key positions. Then he gets them signings and he chooses to bench them as a sackable offence in itself. I have to agree, Johnny. I think Ten Hag is kind of sending a message by doing that. I'm not sure what the message is, but we'll see. We've also got Flex Felix, who's popped in with a very good point, saying that Villa had an extra day and they were at home for their European game, whereas we were stuck out in the wilderness of Portugal. And Mr. B, he's been watching the eye test. He was 2-0 down, but won 3-2. And he's beginning to think that he's a genius.
Well done, Mr. B.
Well done, Mr. B, yes. Johnny's saying, I see a lot of people wanting Rashford to track back and defend, but I think it would make no difference, as Ten Hag has Delot inverting constantly. So it's always two attackers versus Rashford or Delot. And that also happens to Martinez on the other side when Delot inverts. It pushes him out to defend in wider areas where, to be honest, he's appalling. Jeff is a big Bruno fan, and he says that Bruno was rubbish. Simon can't wait until we see Yoro.
Forgot about him.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he'll play for Ten Hag, but I don't think he will. All right, should we go straight to this one, Dora? Dora came up with an incredible theory that I think is great, where Mainu, Mazraoui, and Garnacho have all been withdrawn from their international friendly squads. Dora, what was that incredible insight that you came up with?
Yeah, it came from you. Look, we are not lying on this channel, okay? So, bad time. Don't put this on me. You came up with this insane, conspiracy theory, I would say. So, but I mean, not the news, but the probability of these players, withdrawing from the squad to learn how to play football under. Was that your conspiracy theory? Sorry.
No, my conspiracy theory, Dora. I wish you'd been listening when I told you this. But
no, okay.
My conspiracy theory was that Mazraoui, Kobe, and Garnacho all form the right-hand side of our team.
Okay.
Right back, right central midfield, right wing. I think that these players have been pulled from international duty so that when Ten Hag is sacked tomorrow, an interim can come in and be able to work with them over the international break. And I think it's evidence that builds towards the fact that the decision has already been made. But it is just speculation.
My God, that's amazing. Oh, I would love that. I would love it. Look, I'm not rooting for other person's demise, but Ten Hag is going to have. I mean, he will get a lot of money, so I honestly don't care. Like, if I get 70 million pounds for, having the worst start in the club's history, you know what? I wouldn't be so bothered. Like, who cares? I got money on my mind. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good shout. But I just think, like, during the day, I don't know, with this club, I just can't have good things, nice things. Like, reports, or for example, I think that was speculation, but L'Oreal Whitwell said after the game that that draw against Villa kind of stabilized Ten Hag's place in the club, and then you hear Ten Hag being delusional in post-match interviews, saying that they are doing great, this is a long-term project, everyone was synchronized, everything. Like, he had insane post-match interviews yesterday. And the more I hear it, the more I'm getting, steered in other direction, that he will at least get until Christmas. And, to me, that will lead to the season not being salvaged on time, in my opinion. I think it would be good to sack him now so we can salvage something. But yeah, I think that's a good theory. Hopefully it's right. But yeah, it's insane, right? Mazraoui is playing for, I think he had a knock, if I'm not mistaken. So that's interesting. De Ligt kind of was, have you said De Ligt, right? No, Garnacho. I mean, he's kind of in and out of the Argentina team. So I'm looking at now realistically. And Kobe, like, he played a lot of games in the last season and a half. Like, it's I kind of get it.
He needs a break, doesn't he?
He needs a break, yeah. So realistically, I can see why they're not in their respective national teams. Marzaroy, Vitanok, I believe that, but I believe that he would get into the squad, even though Hakimi is playing there on his position. On the other side, you have Garnacho, who is kind of in and out of the team. He's not informed. Why would that? I forgot what's the name of their manager. Why would the Argentina, manager even call him? Maybe he has other players that are in better form. And in the end, Kobe just played a lot of games. Like, he needs rest. Honestly, he needs rest. But I would love if that theory of yours is actually true.
Yeah, but my theory on the Yabba conspiracy scale, with 1 being absolute rubbish and 10 being definitely true, what number are you giving it?
I'm giving it 1. I don't agree with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the manager's going to stay. And we're talking about delusion and all this kind of thing about what the manager's saying. And give the guy a break. Give the guy a break. If he's saying it as a good performance and he's doing it, it's all relative to what he knows, what he understands about what's going on, the talk between him and his so-called trusted team of Ineos that he's working with. So he's going to come out and say that's a good performance based on what he knows and where they're at relative to what we are going to achieve. So it's a long season. I think we start being Man United supporters and supporting him rather than just criticizing him and making stupid memes or going along with rival fans because you're too scared to stand up for your football team right now. Back Ten Hag, I would say. I'm not saying he's doing a perfect job, but I'm saying you need to back him. Because whatever he's saying, you should listen to what he's saying, not try to decipher it and say, he said he smiled or he winked. And that means, these players are leaving or he's leaving or whatever. I don't see any sign of that. He said he's happy and he's going along with things and things are doing well and they're progressing or whatever. Then I will take that and say, okay, fair enough. Let's see. Maybe he knows something I don't know. Maybe the conversations where they've told him he's safe or whatever, maybe I wasn't aware of that. On ESPN, let me just give you this right now. ESPN.
This was a question about my conspiracy theory, and we're now on ESPN.
Well, your theory was about Eric Ten Hag being sacked. So a new manager can come in to work with the 3 right-sided players, right? Yeah, that was your theory. So I'm saying I don't think he's going to be sacked. And there's a thing from ESPN saying some in Man United hierarchy have privately admitted they really do not want to sack Eric Ten Hag.
Does it go on to say because it would look bad on them or anything like that?
No, it just says that. We can
all right.
elaborate on that if we can.
All right. For a little bit of a roundup, Yabba, and I'm sorry to break it to you. I've been checking on Twitter a little bit during this show because I knew that there was going to be something that was going to break during the show.
Yeah.
Multiple sources are reporting that not only is tomorrow's meeting going to involve discussion about Ten Hag's future. Like today, we saw everyone meet, but because Gary Neville was there, I'm fairly sure that will be about stadium redevelopment options. But there's a meeting in London tomorrow. Multiple sources are now reporting that the meeting will be about whether to keep Eric or not. Yeah. And Thomas Tuchel, who was offered the job over the summer, is now willing to take the job and start immediately. And I would think that at this moment in time, this will be the last evening of Eric Ten Hag as manager.
Can I say, I think Thomas Tuchel would be a good fit. I'd rather that than Potter or Southgate coming in. I wouldn't be happy with that. I just think there'd be yes men for Ineos. Tuchel has a personality. He's defiant. He's a winner. So if he does come in, if that's true, and he actually does come in the club, I think he'll give us an instant lift. And he doesn't play. He shouts at players. He's a real proper manager. I like the way he goes about his business. So yeah, that would be a step up, in my opinion, for what we need at the moment. But nothing's been said yet, so I'm not sure. Dora, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm welcoming that they are actually discussing it after the poor start. I mean, I'm trying to think because I believe there was another manager post Ferguson who went on to holiday and we sacked him or something.
Ollie,
Like
Ollie.
Oli went to holiday and we sacked him. Yeah, uh, very interesting. I just want to say, like, I like the idea of Thomas Tuchel. I think that his tenure at Bayern, Bayern fans absolutely hate him because they ended up third and they had he had a falling out with the board and everything else. I just believe that their board, very senile and old board, imploded in the middle of the season. I think they made a mistake. They realized they made a mistake by sacking Julian Nagelsmann, and they tried to do something. And Tuchel didn't fit what they wanted. Didn't fit. The players didn't fit his vision. In the end, they had a falling out. I'm just curious to hear. I mean, on Monday I heard your opinion on him. It's mostly positive. What do you think, that time, about Thomas Tuchel? Do you think that his tenure at Bayern Munich is an indicator that he's maybe problematic, that he maybe wouldn't that he maybe can't balance out this team or make us at least salvage this season, or be a manager that is going to have us playing decent football in the next 2 or 3 seasons? What do you think about him?
Well, I'll give my thoughts on Tuchel, but I want to go through the comments first, because they're going wild. And don't worry, I'm fairly sure tomorrow's show will be more speculation about the next manager. So homework chat is to find out stuff. First of all, we've got Mr. 82, and he's saying, I'm not going to lie, I'd take Tommy Tuchel in a heartbeat. We've got Johnny, who's saying, is Tuchel willing to work with youth? Ashworth, yuck. Apparently said that's one of the key traits needed. Johnny, do not trust a single word that Ashworth says. POTUS, I would love Tuchel at the club. Sometimes I do feel that the players play a massive role in the performances. I feel that all the time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would settle for Stevie Wonder or Mr. Bean, just as long as we can get this team into a proper driving force. I like this as well. Sacking a manager isn't always the best solution, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I believe that when Chelsea had a manager called Andre Villa-Boas.
Yeah,
the dressing room basically sacked him, and Abramovich came into the dressing room with some security and a translator and told Terry and Drogba and Lampard and the rest of them this was never going to happen again. They'd got the guy sacked, but it wasn't going to happen again. And
didn't they sack Mourinho after that?
That's years later.
Yeah,
that's like 10 years later. And I think only John Terry would have been there at that point. But the point is that I would like the players as well to get a bit of a bollocking and not just put it on the manager, because whilst he's the person that can change things the most, the players have to take some responsibility in what they're doing, because they were the guys that let a 2-0 lead slip against Porto in the week. Like, Ten Hag wasn't there, like, losing his man at the back post. And we've got Jarle Malmin, the king of Skyrim. I wonder if Tuchel had a deal with the club since the summer. They just needed ETH to fail again or remove him, and he had too much fan favour after the FA Cup win. I don't know, Jarle, if this makes sense to me, because they got Tuchel on a boat with Ratcliffe and they couldn't agree terms. I think that they kept ETH because there wasn't anyone better, to be honest. So I don't think that there was a deal in place. Matty Bassett is asking for Amorim, who is a manager in Portugal, I believe, that Liverpool wanted. Probably quite good.
Sporting Lisbon, yeah.
Are they any good at the moment, Sporting Lisbon?
They are first. They are above Porto right now. I think 3 points above.
Big G wants Nagelsmann, the skateboarder.
He's still at the national team, I think.
Yeah, he's German.
I think he decided. Yeah. But it was kind of temporary. And then after the World Cup, he said it's not World Cup, Euros, sorry. He said it's going to be, permanently. Yeah, he signed a new contract or something like that.
Do you think you can manage a club team and a national team at the same time? Obviously, the Bubsy Babes, that's what was going on. But that was a long time ago.
But I think it's a huge workload, especially with the new formats of the tournaments and more and more games. I think that's even too much for the managers. I think maybe 20 years ago, you could see that. I think there were some prominent managers doing that actually, but I don't think you can do it in today's game. It's just too many games and too much workload.
Yabba, would one bad result mean that fans instantly demand his resignation as Germany manager?
Yeah, I think that's true. You can do that in Championship Manager. People
brilliant.
You can combine winning the
Did
World
you do
Cup.
that?
I did, but I found it too boring. I used to play that a lot. I've stopped. It was an addiction. But yeah, I don't think that can work because then if you start performing badly at club or international level, they'll say, "Oh, you got too many commitments here.
Yeah.
You have to, focus on one job." So I don't think that can ever work.
I think that this is a good point because it says who I want as manager. He thinks Tuchel's a glorified cup manager. I'd rather us take a chance on Thomas Frank or go and get Alonso, Emery, or Nagelsmann.
Alonso has been spoken about. I read it today about 2025, the end of this season. We would wait for him.
I don't know about Alonso. He's obviously a brilliant manager, and if he hadn't have been a Liverpool player, I think he'd be like the number one on my list. But
a bit like Matt Busby then.
Yeah, but that's a different. It's a different like age and things, and I think it's a bit like when Rafa Benitez went to Everton or Chelsea or something. Like very difficult to get fans on board. Like he's always going to be called Agent Alonso and stuff whenever we get a bad result. But Thomas Frank would be my number one pick because I think this team lacks a physical flaw. And I think that Thomas Frank is the only manager in the Premier League, am I right, who's got a millionaire owner, not a billionaire owner. And I think that when you look what he's done with players like Tony and Bueno, Wisa, I think he marks all the boxes except for the fact that he uses a 3 centre-back formation, which isn't going to fly at Manchester United. But he would be my choice. What formation does Tuchel play? He's played all sorts, Mr. B. Brilliant. Mark Tuchel from Ireland Stadium. That's a good one. Is Tuchel confident of being able to drop Bruno and Rashford?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got Mark just saying thanks. Why have you highlighted this, Yabba?
I think it's a good point by Matty saying that we need someone who's good at the dark arts and someone who knows. Because I think what we're seeing now with management and systems, you're not teaching people how to play proper football. If you don't go by the system, what do you fall back on? Sometimes you fall back on some dark arts. This is what I'm saying. So, like I said, when I went and played abroad, I brought my English dark arts to make myself effective against guys who are fitter than me, and but not better than me, as in knowing how to get psychological advantage over certain players from different.
Not
nations.
physical.
No, fitter. They were fitter than me.
But you were doing psychological dark arts, not physical dark arts.
Oh yeah. Psychological, as in, and physical, both.
Yeah, okay.
Dark arts of English characteristics that make us tough. Little things that we do to really get an advantage in the game, and I think managers can do that too. So yeah, I'd like to. That's why I flagged that comment up. I think Matty's on the money there with that.
And Andrew's saying that reminds me of Dark Fruits. That's just Strong Blow and Black. Used to have that in the 80s. So you can see where Andrew's at.
Well, they call that snake bite.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was called.
Yeah.
Wildlife Machine is in the house. I'm not going to say that. Give Ruud van Nistelrooy the job. Zico, or Kahinde, I think as most people know him, says he wants Poch in when Ten Hag goes. I'm Titanium. Let's see if you can make you laugh here, Dora. I think they should just hire Steve Bruce.
He's the new Samuel Allardyce. Big Sam.
Flex is saying wouldn't trust a Liverpool player in this era, but I'm all for Spanish coach considering how well they're doing. They're all, by the way, Flex, from the same place in Spain as well. Like what?
Basque region.
Yeah. Mark Juma.
No one can Mark Juma. I'm too strong.
Very. Oh, that's a Uno reverse. That's brilliant. That's brilliant, Yabba. All right, we got 33 people watching. If you're new here, please leave a like and a subscribe because tomorrow all of this is going to continue. I'm going to tell you now that if Ten Hag goes or big news happens, we are not going live in the middle of the night to report it. No one is going to be doing that on the agenda. But more and more things are coming in suggesting that it is a done deal. Yabba, what have you found?
Do you want to read out some things that I've made notes of today? That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cristiano Ronaldo Jr. is wearing a Man United shirt with Garnacho's name on the back. He's not at the club anymore, is he? Jim Ratcliffe and Joel Glazer are at Old Trafford for a long scheduled visit to various meetings ahead of a monthly executive committee in London tomorrow, which you mentioned earlier. Glazer is attending the fans advisory board meeting today. So the fans obviously having some contact with them. Garnacho's had discomfort in his knee, and medical staff from Man United recommended him to not risk it in the qualifiers. BS. I don't think that's too true. Doing a gigsy. Also, Tuchamendi from Real Madrid. He's been there for 3 years, and apparently we've been linked with him for 2025. He could be allowed to leave Real Madrid 3 years after he signed for them in 2022 from Monaco. It's been stated that United could make a move to sign the midfielder, who is thought to be valued by about 67 million pounds. United strike force this season. I'm going to show you some stats. We scored 5 goals. That's ranked 19th in the league. Expected goals is 5th. We should have scored 10 or plus by now, which would be 5th. XG is minus 5.5, which is 20th right now. Conversion rate is only 6%, which is 18th in the league. And big chances missed. We've missed 17 big chances, which makes us 17th on the table as well. So it's really poor from converting chances, as we looked at before previously.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I personally think this season, Yabba, the midfield has been vastly improved from what it was last year. There's been huge individual mistakes in the defence from Martinez and De Ligt. Nana has been really good this season, to be honest. He's actually playing like a £50 million goalkeeper, saving things. I think, God, wow, Yali, I didn't think you were like this. You can watch Iron Mouse's stream. This is a sort of, you see my picture, it's like a cartoon girl. She's a cartoon girl on the internet. I'm surprised someone knows that. But this interests me, Yabba. The supporters meeting. When I have to do that show about the minutes, where we go through all the things that they've said in statements and so on.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, I remember you saying, of course.
And I don't know if anyone remembers this, but I had a plan to install Jeff on the fan advisory committee and kick off the North American representative and pop Jeff in instead. Yeah. But I'm going to do it with Lucky Singh now. We've also got Hab. He's saying Thomas Frank is going to be the new manager if Frank comes with him in January. Hello, Matty McMatface. How many TUMA staff split up over 24 hours can be done? I'm telling you now, me, Yabba, and Mr. B are not doing a 24-hour stream on Erik Ten Hag to be sacked. We'll be back at 9 o'clock tomorrow, possibly. Mark Darius, thank you. Right, I mean, like we've got a lot of people watching and so on, so I don't know if we should continue or not because do you want to carry on, Yabba, or do you want to go to bed?
No,
or do you want to rank the Alien films?
Yeah, we can do that. And also, how did you get on Sunday? I heard Mr. B came back from 2-0 down to win. Well done, Mr. B. Great management on Saturday. No doubt about it. And he did have a goalkeeper.
Did he? I did all right on Sunday. When I came off, I think the score was 6-2 and it finished 6-4, which wasn't great. You know, Calapo took himself off at half time because he was cold. It was just a standard performance, a lot of running about, and then I had a really nice time down the pub. And it's my fault we didn't have the reaction last night because, to be honest, a lot of the love that I have for football has kind of disappeared in the last couple of weeks. I feel very ground down, not just by the manager, I'd like to point out, it's by the players as well. I think that there's a real lack of leadership and bottle in that team. And I feel a bit, I've never said this about a United team, but I feel a bit embarrassed watching them play because they don't have the values that I associate with Manchester United players. And I think when you look at Johnny Evans at the weekend, that's a Manchester United player. And it really reminded me of when Phil Jones had been out for 2 years and he came in against Wolves and put a man of the match performance in. And where has that gone from our team? Do you know what I mean? Like these kind of squad players, sometimes they're seen as jokes or whatever, but you put them in and you get 100% commitment, effort, concentration. You get all this sort of stuff. And I feel like at the moment, I don't like the football team, Yabba. And Dora, I assume you're with me on this, Dora.
Yeah, I agree. Before, you had players in the team where you said, for example, Wayne Rooney is probably my favorite player of all time because, he got me more into football. I mean, I was watching football before, Croatian League and all that, my local team here and all that. But when I saw him first play in 2000, I think 4 Euros. And after that, it carried me to United.
Right.
And I started, following the Premier League. And I think he was the only player that I, at one point when I was younger, I idolized. Not, oh my God, he's so like but the way he played, it was amazing, and I was very impressed. And I don't know if we had those kinds of players, and I know this is a word that is flanked a lot around everywhere, and I don't like it because it shows that people are just sticking with one word and going with it. I think there isn't a player that has that kind of drive or aura around them for me to say, oh my God, this player is absolutely amazing. And I agree. We can say all we want about Phil Jones. He was an injury-prone player that in the end ended his career early, but when he came back, he showcased that he still has passion for football, especially for United. You had Evans showed it against Villa. I mean, he's the only one in this team that won a Premier League. And that says a lot. And he won it with United, And, you look at De Gea, he was another player that really loved the club. And, even in the worst days, he was, saving those goals left and right. I just don't feel, and that's why I'm saying that, like, in the last 2-3 seasons, I just feel like I'm so detached from those squads that we had. I'm so detached. Like, I don't care, honestly, if this player goes, if that player is, this and that. I seriously don't care. And I think this is a huge problem at United because not just, and the Glazers,
Is
and,
that,
with the
commercial.
Yeah.
Is that because you don't feel strongly about the players? Like I just don't care if he stay or goes. I've got no attachment to him. I don't really like what do you mean by?
I mean, maybe I'm, the older you get, the emotion shades, maybe you become more cynical, maybe you become more emotional, you don't know, right? But I just feel like this team doesn't have players that I would say, oh my God, I'm so sad that they left. Like you have that love for McTominay, for example.
Yeah.
I don't have it for him. I don't care if Bruno leaves because he, in my opinion, didn't show me like, okay, he wants to play, he is very passionate, but he didn't show it on the pitch. On the pitch, I'm seeing a guy that is constantly yapping to the refs, who is running just to be running. And to me, it looks like he's just running for the sake of it at this moment in time. He's not doing it for the team and for the progression of the team. And he's not the only one. There are 10 other Brunos like that. And to me, that's a huge issue. And I know people are going to say Glazers, commercial side of the things, PR, this and that, kind of alienated fans from the club in that sense. But in the end, I'm still a supporter of Manchester United. I always, they can call us probably a history channel at this moment in time, but you hear about Busby Bates, you hear the class of 92, you hear about, these kinds of stories is what draws you to United, right? But unfortunately, I don't have the same love for the players that are playing for the club. If you get it right, it's like they alienated me in that department from the club, and that's a huge issue. And I don't know if we are going to see, not probably immediately. I don't know if we are going to see in the next 2-3 seasons or whatever. Said that in 5 years you're going to win a league. That's the goal. I don't know if you're going to see players that we are going to love once again. Like we love ourselves, John O'Shea. We love ourselves, these kinds of players, these cult legends of the club. I don't think we have it currently. In all honesty, Johnny Evans is probably the only one that showcased that in the last 2 seasons, and that says a lot. That says a lot about the state of the club and the way it became in the last 10-15 years or whatever. It's really hard to talk about it, honestly, because like I'm just realizing, like, okay, I love the club and all that, but I don't care about the players. I seriously don't care about them. In all honesty, like I don't care if they leave tomorrow. Maybe the youngster, I would be very sad if Mainu, for example, doesn't succeed, or even Garnacho, but I'm just very cynical about the squad right now, and I don't like it. I'm a very positive person. I'm a realistic, very positive person. I'm very happy, outgoing girl. And then, when it comes to football, I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, I'm miserable.
Did you say you were a happy, positive, outgoing girl?
Yes.
Do you remember when you were talking about the wedding where you said you love people, but as long as they weren't near you?
No, you need to grow up here to get it. Like the certain types of people were around me at that moment in time, and I was very annoyed that I had to go, and it kind of went out of me, and it came out of me. But yeah, you would know if you grew up here and culture here. But yeah, I am very positive, and you can talk to everyone around me. They will say the same thing. But when it comes to football, I'm miserable. Honestly, I'm seriously miserable.
Me too. Right, yeah, but you're going to have to finish me off here. I think that there's one player that you love, and that is Harry Maguire. To be honest, I think he's my favourite player as well, just because I respect his character. I don't think he's ever let us down. And I think that him and Bruno, the criticism they get is absolutely wild, especially when you look at like sort of Mason Greenwood and so on. For those two to get more criticism than him is wild to me. But I want you to cut. Is there any way you can raise our spirits about this team and this squad?
Yeah, I applaud all these players out there. Don't get out of this thing where you are pigeonholed. I am a left back. I'm a DM. I'm all this. That is ruining football. Dora, she mentioned what got her into football was watching Euro 2004 and watching this Royal Rovers type player, young Wayne Rooney, take the game by the scruff of the neck, and just that inspired her. She's like, wow, who is this guy? And we want to see more of that. We want to see more of the Brian Robson, Steven Gerrards, these heroes of football, which get you excited and make you fascinated about the game. Otherwise, we're just gonna have these pigeonhole players. Or I can't do that because I'm a DM, or I can only do A, B, and C. You know, that needs to come out of the game. This is the coaching. This is what's happening throughout the game. We're taking away our values. It's got to be also got to be an attachment to the club, a belonging, and wanting to take and drive them forward. And we want to see players like go the extra mile. One player I do think has got that character is Delit. Now, I think he's proven that he's got something about him in that respect, and the right attitude. And he made a couple of challenges yesterday that made me think, okay, you're on it. You're trying to anticipate. You're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to take that risk. Anana said something pre-season, which all got us horrified.
Oh God, yeah.
And he said, "I want to take more risks," and I think I understand it now. I'm thinking, oh God, we're going to stand on the halfway line and be our fifth defender. No, he just wants to be braver. You got to be braver and bold, and this is what football's about. This is what Rooney was about. This is what Man United are about: having an attachment to the club, going the extra mile, not being pigeonholed as something, and you can't do extras. You got to be impulsive. You got to be exciting. You got to add something to your game. When Giggs scored that great goal, and we were 2-1. We were 10 men down against Arsenal, our big rival at the time. He decided he could just pop the ball off, but he said, "No, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to touch, keep driving, and then wave my shirt around with my hairy chest." That was a moment. That was something brave. The Champions League final. These are all special moments for us where someone has been brave and bold. Schmeichel came up for the corner. Teddy Sheringham swiveled and Giggs got a little touch on it. There's so many good things there about football which make us passionate fans. And I'm saying now, I'm imploring to all the players out there, scrap that textbook system thing and sometimes come away from that and do something extra, within means. Which will make you a hero. And that's what it takes. Roy the Rovers, let's bring that back. That means being brave and bold.
All right. That was brilliant. Well, you finished all of us off there, Yabba. So that was great. You're all children in the comments. I cannot believe it. Have you seen this? Like, have you been reading any of these, Yabba?
No.
Was it just me that Dora's expression when Bartheim said, "Yabba, you're going to have to finish me off here"? Unbelievable.
I mean, they have dirty minds. Every time I said it also, I think, not finish me off, but I said something earlier as well. And they said, ha ha ha, innuendo. And I'm like, is that really, clean up your minds with Mr. Muscolo, with the bleach or something like that. Please, come on.
Yeah,
this
and that's the lady
This is
screamer.
my second language. Sorry?
This is the lady screamer telling you.
Oh my God! Don't remind me. I mean, I deserve that, right? I deserve that. I should have never said it. I cringed immediately when it came out of my mouth. So, yeah.
All right, Riska. Okay, we'll be back at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Honestly, don't get your hopes up about any sort of breaking news streams. That's not who we are. For the 31 people that are watching, we hope to have Jay Motti on Thursday. But who, with all that's going on United, I'm not sure we can promise that at the moment, because if Ten Hag goes on Thursday, Jay's going to have to do stuff on his channel. But hopefully we'll get him on. Remember to leave a like and a subscribe. And hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. So it's lack a notch from me.
Lack a notch from me.
Lack a notch from me.